All right, here we go.
Ready? Three,
Yeah.
2, and 1.
Hey, folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I am Darren Ahern with RE/MAX Results, bringing you over 23 years experience in the Maryland and PA region and all over. Hope you guys are having a great, wonderful weekend. And at an undisclosed location, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with all the money from Presidential Bank Mortgage, who's an amazing loan officer, lender, father, friend, everything you can imagine. And he is on the line, Mr. Terry Kernan. Are you there? All righty. Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you on this beautiful day. So we're doing a little bit of recording, but I want to thank everybody first and foremost for tuning in. As always, if you're brand new, buckle up. This is your weekly dose of mortgage and real estate news and reality. We don't tell you like you want to hear it. We give you the truth. We don't candy coat things like that. So lots and lots to talk about that is going on and all. So, all right, Terry, I'm going to go ahead and hit the numbers very quick. We're going to do a brief segment of it. First time this year, we've had something happen here. You can probably see it. Last week, we had 589 homes for sale right here in Frederick County, Maryland. And this week, 584. We have 5 less homes to pick from. A lot of things. Some of that is going to be both related to number one, the amount of homes that are getting offers right now is at the peak of the year, pretty much. So I've had, as you know, Terry, I guess 4 listings. And basically in 1 week, boom, 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 multiple offers, all that good stuff. So, and I'm going to talk about a segment of it, which is really important later in the program. So 584 is where we're at. We have 105 coming soon, though. So the first segment is those going on a contract. The second is you've already got, this is funny, Terry, you already have those sellers that are saying, did we miss the spring selling window? No, you didn't. This is the height. This is it. I have one that we're doing photos today. We have an open house this Sunday in Tawnytown. Gorgeous house, cute little house. And we've already got like 8-9 showings and plus the open house already. And we haven't even got the photos done yet. So there you go. So for any sellers out there, we have another good month or two that I'm thinking it's going to, because it's been delayed this year, the spring market, you may have about 2 more months that it's actually going to be pretty good. I think buyers are going to stay in the game quite a bit, actually, because demand is definitely there. So I have a lot of them. I'm showing more houses today and this whole week, and it's been crazy. I think I have 7 or 8 under contract right now, and I've probably got about 5 or 6 really active buyers. I mean, at any minute, we're pulling triggers and doing offers and the whole 9 yards. So it's really good. All right, T, let's get into it. Coming soon, 105, 476 resales, 52 days. It's come down. We're 30 days median, 52 average days on market. But that's going to come down pretty quick here. I think in the next week or two, we'll get below 52, down to probably 46, maybe 44. But the big number is the 20. You know, that's your median, taking out the highs and the lows. That takes out like all the homes that go under contract in the first couple days or hours. And then it takes out the top tier of 10% or whatever it is, that these are all the sellers that are like, we're just going to overprice the house. I know we've been on the market 2 years, but we're not going to reduce it. If it doesn't sell, no big deal, we'll stay. So it takes out both the crazy information to be a little more unskewed data. And that brings it down, like you said, to that 30 day mark, not 20, 30-day mark. Yep. Median price 520, average 584, and that has crept up a tiny bit. So under contract 622. There you go. That's peaking it out almost. So what do you think of that number?
Big number.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a couple of years. So when people say around the country, yeah, the buyer demand is down and people are backing off and everything, not in our area. This is the busiest, Terry, I've been in almost 2 years now. So, you know, for the buyers that are sitting back listening and are saying, hey, we're waiting for interest rates to crash, we're waiting for prices to crash, you're going to be mad. I can just tell you right now, because I listened to a great podcast last night, and that's what they were talking about. There were 1,400 counties in the United States where values are up year over year, and there's 1,600 of them out of 3,000 counties in the United States, approximately 1,600 of them. They've seen prices year over year come down. Well, we're in the 1,400 of the counties that prices are still going up, up, up. Even if it's 1%, even if it's a 0.5% or 2%, even if it's less than the average, we're still seeing prices go up. And so 622 is the under contracts sold in the last 30 days, 317. And that number obviously is going to continue to climb. The resales, 301 of those, 9 median days, 26 average. So that's what's going to pull that days on market down. 488 median price, 528 average price. Single family homes, 184 of those with a 31 day, 580 median, 605 average price. We beat that one. We topped over 600. 94 townhouse type condos as well, 29 days. Median is 9, 413 median, and 431 average price. And the new builds, Terry, this is what gets me every week. 16. Only 16 have sold in 30 days. 9 are single family homes, 7 are townhouses. Single family averages 847, and the townhouse type condos as well, 486. So there's 24 condos that have sold, and that's been the average time 27 days and 314 average price. But I did a year-to-date solds, and right now we are up. And I looked at the data, Terry, check it out. For the amount of inventory, we're at 1.9 months, but the units sold, we're up 6.3% over this time last year. So market is picking up. There's more buyers. When I did my year-to-date at this point, 1,031 units have sold in Frederick County. The median days, 17, average 42, 98.6% ratio, 483 median price, 520 average. That is the highest average. The highest was in July of 2022 at 525. We are $5,000 away, Terry, for matching and going above the last peak of the entire market, which blows my mind.
That does. It just doesn't seem like it. But back then in 2022, we were also dealing with a tremendous amount of refinance.
Yeah, definitely. So those are the numbers, boys and girls. Those are the numbers. All right, Terry, I'm going to remind everybody real quick. Still, Sheetz gas station gift card. Whoever can let us know what date you think interest rates will be back down to 6.25%, according to the mortgage app that we use, Mortgage News Daily. You should download that. It's amazing. And Terry, right now, today, I saw it. Where do you think we are? Where are mortgage rates right now today on an average for 30-year conventional fixed?
Well, 6.57, but they were at 6.42 just last week.
Yeah.
So rates have gone up for obvious reasons, but I can get into that a little,
Yeah, so we've seen rates go up a little bit. The thing that, Terry, I'm amazed by, it hasn't phased buyers. I think we've been in this area of mortgage rates in the 6.5% now. It seems like we've been here for a long time, and there's been that promise, that whole thing of, hey, we're going to be in the 5 soon. We saw it happen for 20 minutes. Remember, we got the 5.99 or whatever it was, and it was like 20 minutes it lasted, and then all of a sudden we were back in the 6s, and now we've crept back up into the 6.5 mark, and it seems like this historically is still below the average, but it's still not the news and the feeling that everybody wants to feel. And that's, I think, the relevant key thing with sentiment, all the world events and all that. And I know you may want to share with the uncertainty. We have a new Fed chair coming, we talked about and all that. But at the end of the day, here's what I'm discovering with my buyers. It's not causing them to go back into the sidelines and say, okay, we're not going to buy a house now. And it's not causing them to say, well, we want to offer a much less because interest rates are up 1/4 or 0.5% than it was when we started the first look, and now our payment's going to be $100 a month higher or whatever it's going to be. So we want to stick it to the man, which means the seller. We want to offer less and get closing costs and everything else. I'm not hearing that and seeing that. I mean, I have suggested, what would you like to do? Here's all your options and everything. But I have not had any buyers get upset and irritated to the degree where they would say, I'm offering 10,000 less than the price, and if I don't get it, I could care less. We don't have that anymore. We don't have this I'm mad, I'm upset buyer right now. What we have, I'm learning, Terry, is we have the buyers going, okay, this is what it is. We've accepted reality. We've been here for years now, we've heard, and we know that it's not going to change drastically like we want. So we just need to suck it up, Buttercup. And if we want a house and quit paying rent or living in the basement with our parents or doing whatever they're doing, we just need to absolutely buy a house, like get what we want to get and lock and load, stay there and be happy and call it a day. That's really the sentiment. That's what we're seeing, Terry. What are your thoughts? What do you think about that? And in the mortgage world, you can go ahead and share, what you're seeing.
So first of all, let's talk about what's going on with the Fed. So Kevin Warsh was, he's official. He was voted in. He is now the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, and his first meeting that he will oversee will be next month. Let's remember one thing: Jay Powell is not going away. So Kevin Warsh is going to be getting some pressure from the administration. He's handpicked by the administration, but you do have Jay Powell hanging in as a governor, and he's going to be there at least. Well, he runs out in 2028, so he's got a couple more years. I don't think he'll be on that long, but so that could be an issue or continuing conflict going on. So let's keep a close eye on that. But more importantly, why have rates shot up? Okay, we know it's the war, but what is the war causing? The war is causing higher gas prices, right? Higher oil prices. When you have higher oil prices, everything you do costs more money. It's that simple. So when you see oil prices rising, you can pretty much guarantee that at some point interest rates are going to follow oil prices in that direction. When you see gas prices and oil prices dropping, you can pretty much see interest rates following in that somewhere, 30 days down the road or whatever the case may be. So what we've seen a continuous increase in rates. Rates did drop. They got a little lower, and then boom, this week they went up. So Friday was a good day, and then we saw rates jump Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, settle down on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. So they've settled down a little bit. So what is the problem or what's going on? Let's talk about it. Tuesday, CPI came out, Consumer Price Index. What do we pay for goods? 0.6%. That was much higher than they were expecting, okay? Wasn't a whole lot higher, but it was higher than expected. So let's talk about what 0.6% means. Year over year, we were at 3.3%, okay? That jumped it to 3.8%. So basically the inflation number that we're dealing with, that we're looking at, that the Fed is trying to determine what's going on, we're now at 3.8% over last year over year. So what does that mean? It's well above, it's almost double the target rate of 2%. Now I've talked about the target rate probably sliding somewhere to 2.5% as we move on in the future, but right now it's still 2% that the Fed looks at. So is the Fed going to cut the rate in the first meeting? No, I do not believe that will happen. Now, what could happen, which will send a shockwave through all the markets, is if Kevin Warsh comes in and they decide to raise the rates. Why would they raise the rates? Because inflation is back, right? It's come back hotter than expected. So let's talk about what's the producer price index came out on Wednesday. Let's talk about that. 0.6% was consumers. So consumers were paying 0.6% higher on goods. Producers were paying 1.4%. In the last 30 days, their cost of goods to produce went up by 1.4%. Everybody estimated 0.5%, 0.5%. So this is 3 times what it was supposed to be. Year over year, the producers, the people that, our manufacturers, the producers, inflation went from 4.3% to 6% year over year. Now, 4, 5, 6 years ago, whatever, 3, 4 years ago, whenever this all started, we heard about this great thing, this new word called transitory inflation. And everybody sat on their hands. Jay Powell and company sat on their hands, and they got so far behind the eight ball that they couldn't catch up. And it was an embarrassment to everybody. And it was wrong that they relied on transitory inflation. Now we're in a situation where I believe if the ceasefire holds, if something sticks, if the Strait opens back up and we have the flow of oil, then what we're going to be taking a look at is that these inflation numbers are going to go down, and they're going to go down very quickly. Now, does that constitute us calling what we're dealing with right now transitory inflation? I don't know. Sure sounds like it, because if the war ends quickly, then it could become temporary inflation. So nobody's talking about that, because that word got a lot of people into hot water last time they threw it around like it was, threw it around with ease. Okay, so could we be seeing that a little bit? Yes, we could see. So basically, let's keep an eye on what the oil prices are doing. What's going on in the Gulf? Okay, those are the big numbers. The big question that so many people have been asking me, and they have been, coming out, and they've been, I paid $4.41 for gas the other day. Why are our gas prices high when we produce so much oil? Let's go back to the conversation I've had many, many times on the show, is we export 19 to 20 million barrels a day. We are the number one producing oil country in the world. We send it all out, okay? The reason we do is our refineries cannot handle the sweet crude oil that we manufacture, okay? So we have to import from the Middle East, from Venezuela to South America. We have to rely on other countries to send us oil, because our refineries are set up to handle other people's oil and not ours. I've often said that is just a bad situation that we put ourselves in 25 years ago, whenever they decided, whenever Congress and Senate and everybody got together and said, hey, let's rely on other people's oil for the rest of our lives. Not a good move, but that is why we are in such a bind here with the oil prices. So that's what I have.
Yeah, that's something. That's definitely what we've been seeing happening. And like you said, until as a whole, it feels like for everything, even though things are somewhat stable, you're right, until we see people feel everyday living become better as far as gas prices coming down and all this gets worked out, things are going to still feel weird. They're going to still feel stagnant. You're gonna have those that are still on the sidelines, and they're just the wait and see kind of a game, The whole thing with the Fed chair is going to definitely be interesting. You're right. There's with Powell being still involved in the degree he will, and some of the different dynamics and all that, especially with inflationary pressure and all. Yeah, I guess it's probably safe to say and that's the thing. How do you even prepare anyone? As far as if interest rates do go up for a cycle before they come back down, how is that going to affect the whole housing world? And so how much momentum will we start to lose based on what we've already gained now and how things are? What will that really truly look like? So it's anybody's guess. There's a lot of moving parts, but we're on it. But go ahead. What are your thoughts?
So my thought, Darren, is like you said, you're busy, I'm busy, we're all busy right now. We're busy with buyers. We're not busy with people refinancing, okay? So that's the important thing to think about. So the demand is there. We're starting to see that list to sold ratio creep up, 98.5, now it's 99.6. So we're starting to see more houses come on the market. So what I feel is going on is that it's not confidence in what's going on today, it's confidence that in the future, if that makes sense. People are confident that rates are going to come down at some point. They're confident that the war is going to end at some point. They're confident that things are going to, the ship is going to right itself somewhere down the road. Does anybody know? No. Is it a short term? Next 6 months? Hopefully, we're going to see a big improvement in the next 6 months. So I think the demand has continued to be strong because people have confidence not in what's going on today, as I said, but what's going to confidence in the future. Now, what can knock that train off the tracks is if the Fed meets next month and they address this inflation issue by raising rates. That will put a lot of people, that'll put a lot of fear into people on, hey, maybe I'm not so confident in what's going to happen in the future here. So maybe I'm going to sit on the sideline. I've always said fear breeds fear, anger breeds anger, enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. And that's what we might see. So I believe that even though there's a chance that they're going to raise rates, I believe that they're going to hold it steady. But I think that there's more of a chance that they'll raise rates at this point than they will cut the rates.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know you guys are doing a great job. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think we're starting to, I believe we're going to have to hedge off inflation sooner than later with it going up a little bit. And so, yeah, I think you got to flip the coin. What do we want? Do we want a little bit more pain now to have a little bit of a longer term relief? Or do we not want to, we're going to kick the can down the road? It's a really tight balancing act with our whole economy and a lot of the dynamics, especially with how everything's shaping up to be. So interesting, but the stock market's still breaking records. I mean, this is just like you said, it makes no sense. The dynamic, the podcast I listened to last night said this is making less sense now than ever to be able to have the higher gas prices. Jobs are still pretty good overall. The pay is going up. Affordability has gotten a little bit better. In the last 6 months, it's the first time in the last 3 or 4 years, they're saying. And then you've got more counties in the United States than less counties in the United States having home prices still go up. It's just really interesting. You got stock market breaking records, but then you've got high gas prices. You've got high prices for food and everything else, and taxes going up and insurance going crazy. So it's like we have this gap. And that's what I wanted to talk about today a little bit, which is a very weird dynamic that we don't think about a lot in housing. So to finish last week's, Terry, real quick, top 5 things. Somebody asked me this. This is how I got it. What are the top 5 things that hurt home values overall? And number 1, we know location. You can't change it. When you purchase, you better be paying attention to future resale. Okay. Number 2, taxes. Oh my, taxes. I'm selling a house right now. The taxes are $14,000 a year. You can't make this up. And by the way, we're not in New Jersey. We're not in New York. Okay. Cause that's cheap taxes, believe it or not, in certain areas up there. But literally in Frederick, $14,000. Now somebody's going to say, well, this house must be $2 million. No, it's not. It's $820. So take your breath away. I'm going to be starting to sing that old Top Gun song because it takes your breath out quickly. Taxes. Yeah. Are you in the city, non-city, county, location? All of it matters. And the fact that they just keep going up. They're not going to ever come down. Schools. Yes. This is still very important with buyers, especially with kids. It is amazing, Terry, to me, and I never talk bad about any schools. We just let people go on to Cliche or greatschools.com or all the websites, do your own due diligence. I don't even know how to define what's a good school, what's a bad school, how many teachers, what's the ratio, how many teachers have a Harvard degree versus not. I have no idea. But I do know this. I do know that people do their homework more than ever before if they have children. And I do know that they every so often will say, hey, that house is in XYZ area schools. My kid's not going there. Take that off my list, Darren. And you know what? It's true. The prices of homes reflect pretty heavily on what schools are in what districts and areas. And so that's a big one when it comes time to, it can help or hurt your value. Condos and HOE fees. Oh, absolutely. Yes, this is a big one. I just dealt with this in the last week. Had a buyer. It's just crazy. I'm not even going to go into it, Terry, but it's unreal. Condos and HOA, the fees and such like that, again, they're like taxes. They ain't never coming down. They're always going to go up. And it's somebody else that decides how we're going to spend all this money. And we're going to buy what we want to buy and do what we're going to do. And it's going to cost you. So those can negatively affect values of a property. No doubt about it. If they go up too fast, too much, have special assessments involved, you name it, it can happen. And then finally, condition. You're in a flat out crazy winner takes all beauty contest. It's that simple. There's no runners up. There's no third place when it comes time to selling a house. You got one shot. And that beauty contest, when that girl comes out on stage, if she has a wrinkle in her dress, you're done. It's over. You're going to get passed up, and another house is going to be asked out on the date and get the prize. So 5 big things. And leading that into is the idea about the fact that, Terry, this last week, I got one of my homes under contract, 7 days on the market, over 10 showings, plus the open house, multiple offers over asking price, no inspection. The inspection limited is as is, and it's simply because the seller did exactly what I told them to do. And so they listened. They said, you're the professional, you're the coach. We're not. I told them what to do. They did a pre-home inspection. They fixed everything on the list that was pertinent to losing a potential buyer and that could hurt their values in the whole 9 yards. Provided receipts up front, the whole 9 yards, and bingo, it's not rocket science. And now we don't have nothing to negotiate out much of. The seller benefits by not losing a potential good qualified buyer in the beginning of the sales process, and they get to move on with their lives with less stress, and they are happy as can be with more money in their pocket. Biggest thing somebody may ask me is, Terry, did the offer get more money than how much they spent to do all the repairs and things? Yeah, it did. That's why they're happier than ever, and I love it. So, all right, we got about 2 minutes left, Terry. Let's talk about the gap. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, 2 minutes left. Did you know that nearly 28% of all buyers walk away from a real estate transaction? In the fall of last year, it was the highest we've ever seen. But right now, 21%. It's down 7 because buyers get it. Sellers get it. Sellers are starting to realize, I don't want to lose a buyer over a home inspection or other issues. So sellers and buyers' expectations have always been divided by this gap. That is no surprise. But Terry, the scary thing is the gap is bigger than ever before. And what is it? I'm going to end the program, and we're going to talk about this next time on this. Ready? What is the gap? Sellers want more money than ever before for their house. They think it's worth more than ever before. And it is. But if you overprice it and you miss the market, who cares what you thought, right? And buyers want a deal. I've never been in a market where they don't want no deal. They want the lowest price possible and the best terms and conditions. They want closing help, pay my agent, fix the stuff from the home inspection, buy down my rate, anything and everything, and make a 20-year-old home new again for the resale price. Those are the expectations. So next time we're going to continue on with the gap, talk about what are some of the fixes and realistic expectations. And we're going to cover all that, Terry. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to your Frederick Real Estate Update each and every week here on Saturday on WFMD. Happy buying and selling, and take care. And thank you to all of our awesome sponsors. All right, guys, take care. Have a great, great day. Happy buying and selling. We're here for you.